I'm Lee-Lin Thye from Symantec, Senior Product Marketing Manager. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about complete SSL and interoperability with A10. Some of the topics that I'm going to run through really quickly would be vulnerabilities, trends, and challenges. How CIC, which is our product that does discovery of SSL certificate, and also automation on systems such as A10. And then how we optimize, how we partner together with them. And finally, we'll open up for Q&A. Moving right along, I don't know how many of you have heard about the Symantec ISTR, the Internet Security Threat Response. We have an annual report that goes out every year, and we go and analyze the data. So for this year, as you can see, past year, we did it for a whole year. In 2014, you can see that there are 312 as compared to 253 in 2013. So the number of breaches has escalated, and I'm sure all of us know it's like every single year, it keeps going up and up. It's a matter of concern for us. In terms of data, total identities exposed, although it is less, but if some of you may recall, in 2013, there were some really mega breaches that happened. So the retail stores that got hit, right? Data that got exposed. So even though the identity exposed is smaller, the number of breaches has continued to escalate. So keep that in mind. And here, what I've included is some of the findings that we found from the report, and that has to deal with the vulnerabilities. So you can see that the top 10 is SSL TLS Poodle. Has anybody heard about Poodle last year? The SSL version 3.0, right? So a lot of this has to do with website security. That's why we are here. We are very concerned about that. We want to make sure that your business, your systems are all protected. I'm not going to read through this. I'm sure the presentation will be available for you, to download. If not, I'll leave my card and reach out and find me. Again, in terms of trends, how many of y'all know about the Always On SSL initiative from Google, right? If you're on the e-commerce side of things, you would know that if you have secured your website with HTTPS from end to end in terms of the customer user experience, you will know that Google will, in terms of search rankings, push your ranking up. So although e-commerce customers are very aware of that, I think other companies, if you want your customers to find you, that would be something of note to make sure that you take note of, okay? Moving forward, there have been a lot of NIST recommendations and CAP forum changes. And all of this has to do with trying to make the website more secure. So 1024 to 2048, does that ring a bell? I'm sure all of you know about that. I mean, this is, SHA-1 to SHA-2. So all those, a lot of those are just, standards to help you secure your website. The other one, an innovation that's coming up is perfect forward secrecy. And this has come into high prominence during the Heartbleed vulnerability. What happens with this one, with perfect forward secrecy, is that it helps to assure you, if you secure it in the right way, that any kind of intrusion trying to read past data from you will not be able to find it. So that's a lot of security in making sure that you protect even past data that has gone that is in the past. There are certain cryptography such as EHC, DHE that helps you to implement that and get that to have that for the perfect forward secrecy. Again, it's about past messages protected from future attack. So what does all this mean? I mean, this is all very good, right? Having higher security, having always on high rankings and so forth, having innovations. What does that mean to the IT manager? Well, it means that, again, if you're implementing always on SSL, there may be a lot more SSL certificates that you have to manage. And with that, how do you handle certificate expiration? So, again, in certificate expiration, if you buy one type from one CA, maybe that's an easy way to manage it. A lot of CAs have ways for you to look at that, to send you reminders and so forth. But if you have multiple CAs, then you may run into a problem where you need to manage all of it. Compounded with that, some departments in your group may spin up their own self-signed certificates. Now, some of them may be out of policy, and some of it may, not encouraged, but people do it anyways. And how do you mitigate the risk of those certificates expiring, right? And how do you find out where all the certificates are anyway in the first place? So that's what are some of the management challenges that we heard a lot from our customers. compliance migration. You have SHA-1, SHA-2. If you are a large enterprise, you have a lot of, SHA-1 certificates. Maybe you're not ready to move all of it into, SHA-2. What are some of the measures that you could take in place to help you say, well, we know that not all certificates can go into SHA-2 right away, but we still need to use the SHA-1 certificate. What is it that we could do? What solutions are out there to help us, sort of straddle that before we move to the next level? Again, certificate deployment and tracking, right? Reports and audits. That's all in terms of compliance. When you have an audit coming up, how confident are you that you're going to be able to, pass that audit really, really easily, right? If you have like a whole list of where you know exactly where your certificates are, what algorithm they are, what cryptography they are, what key lengths they are, where all that information, make sure you have all that information at your hands. And finally, we all know about Heartbleed, right? 500 million, and more. So that's something, when something like this happens, and we're beginning to see more and more of that kind of happen. After Heartbleed, it was Shell Shock, the Poodle, something else free just came out, right? Not too long ago. Where do you go for help when something like this happens? So from Symantec, what we like to do is provide you that entire assurance to go for it, to sort of manage that. So what we have here is that we have an entire solution, starting from, discovery of the certificate to deployment and training, right? And tracking of it and being able to go somewhere where you can get that solution. Some of you may not be aware, but then, Symantec bought VeriSign 3 years ago. So we are VeriSign. So VeriSign has a strong name, we are the oldest CA. We have been there, we know our business really well. If that's something we know, it's certificates. And what we have been doing so far was issuing certificate. A couple of years ago, we came up with certificate management. We heard from our customers that, we really need to be able to manage it. And that's why we came up with, looking at what certificate management challenges are and making sure all that, that it helps you to mitigate any risk that comes through it and reduce sort of your management time in, tracking it and so forth. So what we come up with was the Certificate Intelligence Center, and that's sort of some of the components that go into a complete SSL. We have the discovery and business continuity, being able to go in and track all your certificates, making sure that you know exactly where it is. It doesn't have to all come from Symantec. It doesn't have to be all VeriSign certificates. It could be certificates from any CA, and you'll be able to find it. If it's self-signed, you'll be able to find it, and you'll be able to track it, and you have one console to see where those are. Who manages it, what IP addresses it is at, what key length it is, what algorithm it is. So all the information is at your, at your fingertips. And I'll show you some screenshots in a few minutes. And then what you do is that now that you have all the certificates, right? The easy thing is that a lot of what we heard from our customers is that IT department, installing a certificate and deploying it is only one portion of what they do. They have a lot of other higher priority tasks that they have to do as well. And so we help to make that easier for them. We are trying to automate it so that you can get on to your next task. So that makes it a lot more efficient for you. So that's discovery, that's the automation portion. So here's a little bit of a screenshot. And this shows you in terms of the automated renewal and upgrades. What we do is that you have to deploy the discovery first. You discover all the certificates, and once it's in your console, you could just easily select which certificate that you want to be renewed. And that way you set it up and you say, if it's a certificate that's not by Symantec, it's a self-signed certificate, you can transfer it into our console and again have that managed and have that automated as well. So that's how, some of the things that we have. You can see it comes from a certificate summary review and it goes through. And what it does is that, it leverages the sort of relationship with our partners like A10, and we use their standard API, and that gives you a very tight integration. So you could have this automated on standalone servers, or you could have it on load balancers. So what we do is also we make sure that because of our partnership, we future-proof it. So, going forward, if A10 has an upgrade in their versions, we are, lockstep with them. And the same thing with us, right? They know what you're doing. So that's what it is. And moving forward to discovery. So the first screen shot is the discovery. The second shot is that this is a summary of what you do, right? The different sort of elements that you would discover. And then finally, the third one is that now it's all renewed. So easy, the process itself is really easy. And then you sort of minimize all the sort of manual labor that if you were to do it on by hand. So this is sort of the 3 things that you will see when you automate the system. Really, really simple. Finally, I want to show you a really simple screenshot. This is called a security rating. Again, I mentioned earlier that there are a lot of sort of vulnerabilities that is being discovered on SSL and so forth. What we have is with the discovery portion that I've showed earlier, is that you can see that we have a security rating for you. So with the security rating, you can flag you as, it's a not secure product. So whoever is installing this product would immediately know that certificate needs to be looked into. Maybe, an intermediate is not properly installed, for example. That kind of things. Sometimes a new IT person may not be aware of stuff like that. So with this security rating, now you can see that. So, and then it can also flag. This does not show you the details, but it also flag you, for example, if you have SSL v3. It will tell you that, perhaps it's something for you to upgrade on. So with that, I'm going to summarize it, right? When you automate it, you save time, you maintain control because everything is, that's one central control. You could delegate it. You could delegate it to different administrators, different business unit and administrators. But everything is in one console. And then, of course, you already have A10. It's an easy adoption, with A10 ADC. Finally, it really helps you with staying in compliance. We have a lot of financial services, large companies, and government. So one of the major things that they have in mind is being in compliance, right? Finally, lower the risk.